Hola, everybody. Remember how, like, a couple of episodes back, we went full Bramtastic? And then last episode, we had big synth energy. Now we're going for the slightly different vibe. So, hoping to make Philip Glass proud, my name is Luis, and here is Same Scene, Different Score. Let's go. Today's score revolves around baraphones and marimbas, and for that, I'll be using our newest addition to our collection of instruments, Aspire Modern Mallets. The first thing that came to mind was how to score what's clearly an action cue with instruments that would not be my first choice when approaching such a high-energy, high-stakes narrative, which was fairly straightforward with a Scorch orchestra and aggressive synth lead sounds. What ended up happening is that I was able to find new layers of emotional depth by using mallet percussion as the centerpiece in the score. The orchestration then became a statement in and of itself, and that allowed me to craft a take that explores different ways of enhancing this amazing scene by our amazing friend, AlNouri. So here it is, same scene, different score. One of the things I tried to do was explore what if I grabbed the previous episode's theme and then transpose it to this new instrument? How would that sound? Which is wide, lush, and dreamy, but it just changes the vibe of it so much. Which makes you think, like, it's all about the combination. Like, if you play one theme in a synth lead sound, it sounds way different with marimbas and vibraphones. This led me to find the theme for this episode. There's a little more yearning, a little more nostalgia to it. So it's not a theme that reflects, I'm gonna go get this, but I think this one is more about how he feels. I also added the frozen marimba. I staggered the notes just to give some echoes. It was easier to capture the inside feelings. That's where feelings live, right? Inside. Given how this instrument is so good at being sparse, having like this lush ambient sound, I tried going for a vacuum of rhythm, where in the other previous iterations, I tried going for like a gradual build up and like matching the energy of what we're looking at. But here, I want to subvert expectations, because you really get inside the character's emotion while he's running. It's the first time the theme is really exposed. And as we segue into the next section, I wanted to keep using the vibes to illustrate that tension. And for this, I used creative sound design to go into a more rhythmic palette while still using the same timbres. It's a brooding, ARP-based sound that is giving you sort of like that pulsing beat. Then you have the preset My Magical Anvil, and yes, naming preset is one of my favorite things. If you pair that with the theme second section and Aspire sounds, so there's tension, but we're still inside the character's emotion and not as much with his actions. For the next section, I took a gamble, which is more of like an experiment. What happens if instead of like going with the action, I held that a little further, I drew a little more of the tension. So basically I changed the chord, but it's still sparse, it's still building up towards the next moment. You're getting more rhythm, and with everything else, particularly with Aeon's synth, there is more rhythm, but it's still not quite epic level yet. And that brings us to our grand finale, a little later than what maybe I would have liked. The theme comes back, soaring with strings. Does it work better? I personally will go with having like the epic start earlier. But I think it's also interesting, right? You're staying with the emotion, you're seeing these things happening, but the character is clearly like dealing with stuff inside of his soul. And for this, I went back to playing the arpeggio and playing a variation of the theme with a combination of marimbas and vibraphones. These cut very easily through the epicness underneath. Back to My Magical Anvil. Little schmutz, little dirt, little grit. This theme also becomes huge at the end, which is where we're soaring, the strings are bringing it to life in a different way. And I think it's also cool that I was able to do it in 3/4. Again, so many ways to combine orchestration, thematic ideas, and time signatures and rhythms. To quickly compare, the first time it comes, it's at the beginning, hinting at what's to come. The next moment, it's when he starts running, so there's a statement in and of itself. And at the end with the strings and everybody else playing. The other resource that I used for this score was having contrasting sounds. And what I used was Aeon, which has a trove of amazing synth, like very gritty synth sounds, but also driving pulses and rhythms. So you can hear the interplay between that first arpeggio that comes up at the beginning and like a gnarly evolving synth that comes on the background. Yeah! Stank face! At the end, these come back with a vengeance. Only way to come back. And you start hearing the pulse, adding everything else. And one of my favorite loops from Aeon, from Menu Suite 3, go find it. A lot of stuff happening, but very cool. Now let's hear that ending, adding the layers so you can see how everything comes together. We'll start with Good Vibes Only. Aeon. Strings. And drums. So there you have it. I think it's super interesting how having a different approach using different orchestration can help you flesh out themes and ideas and emotion in such different and also similar ways. So if you want to listen to the other scores, check out the previous episodes. subscribe for more. And if you want to learn more about Aspire, our latest product, go to heavyocity.com. Remember, good vibes only. See you around. What about bad vibes? Nah.